You're back with Anchorman Eric, bringing you some more MELK news. And now to Kelly with a magnificent MELK story.
And we're back with some very boring MELK news. $1 billion daily shot in the arm of the American economy. Estimates of benefits center near that $1 billion mark with respect to the development of new supplies of natural oil and gas. This is a predicted daily benefit to and from the United States economy. The unconventional sources of natural oil and gas might be from shale, for example. Offshore production in the Gulf of Mexico is also occurring and contributing to this benefit. Raw gains from domestic energy supplies were $900 million per day in April of 2010. In January of 2010, the gains totaled $70 million. Mr. Cohen believes this great economic contribution of the current energy resolution has valuable data to support the findings. Andrew Jackson doesn't agree with the claims made by Jensen. Mr. Jackson believes that the gas and oil companies will benefit, not the consumer, in lower cost. He questioned why the price of natural gas in the open market has fallen over the years from highs of $14 between 2006 and 2008 down to lows of $2. But gas bills for our homes have not dropped at all or have risen over the years. Mr. Jackson asked that all customers check their gas bills, not the overall bills, but to check the rate. We will see that the oil and gas companies are profiting the most. Dar, another economist, believes strongly that our government lacks investment in renewable energy sources to keep costs high to the consumer. Between 1950 and 2010, $500 billion worth of incentives were given to gas and oil industries by the federal government. Approximately $2 billion not to grow anything on 30 million acres of land. If the government gave money by the farmers to grow canola, the oil could be pressed out and mixed with lye to make gallons of biodiesel. This makes it possible to reduce $200,000 of barrels imported oil per day. Back to you, Eric.
I'm back, and I have a serious question for all you viewers out there. How do you like your drinks served to you? In paper or plastic cups? Does it matter to you? A couple in San Diego boycotted the Jamba Juice chain because they served their smoothies in plastic foam cups. A good smoothie is a good smoothie to me, whether it's in a plastic foam cup or a paper cup. But this couple sees the environmental benefits of having paper cups and wants to help improve our environmental footprint. While Jamba Juice and McDonald's are changing some of their drink products to be served in paper cups, some plastic cup users just won't switch. This whole debate is all over self-interest, whether you prefer drinks in a paper or plastic cup, or how the company prefers to serve their drinks to you. A catch in this, though, is in the paper industry. These companies switching to paper cups also have to purchase these cups and have a new demand for paper. Do you see where I'm going with this? Well, if you don't, I'm going to tell you anyways. This increase in demand for paper is going to result in an increase in supply for paper, which makes paper production businesses very happy. Maybe I'll quit being a broadcaster and jump into that business. But for now, I'm going to send you over to Marissa for another story.
Hey, Eric, thank ya. I have some more bad news for our upcoming price market. According to the Wall Street Journal, trends are showing that the weather phenomenon known as El Niño is expected to return this year. El Niño is caused by slow Pacific winds that in turn warm a vast area of water. As we all know from global warming speeches, warming of the oceans never brings about good things. The warmer water can upend weather patterns around the world, causing heavy rainfalls in California, and then across the Pacific, causing severe droughts in Australia. Statistics show that we have a 65% chance of having this weather phenomenon affect us by the end of the year. The weather change would be detrimental to prices of goods in the market. The El Niño causes price increases in nickel, coffee, and soybeans because of the droughts it induces in areas on the west side of the Pacific. Nickel is one of the most important goods it affects. Indonesia, the world's top producer of nickel, and would be hit by El Niño. Indonesia would experience severe droughts. But how do droughts affect the nickel production, you ask? Well, mining equipment used in Indonesia relies heavily on hydropower. The less rain and water they have, the less nickel can be produced. Therefore, the technology and productivity, one of the factors that affects the supply curve, would cause a decrease in supply, therefore an increase in price to equal out the demand for the good. Hopefully, the 45% chance that we have of not having the El Nino will be enough to make it not happen. Back to you, Eric.
What if the minimum wage that high schoolers are working increased? That sounds pretty nice to everyone. According to the Wall Street Journal, recently a few owners increased their minimum wages but had to suffer in other areas, such as Carl's Jr. franchise in San Francisco. They had to use less shortening to make French fries, which isn't that great of an impact on their business. On the other hand, a White Castle in Illinois had to cut 2 jobs to compete with their competitors' prices. Some businesses are a little more affected by this than others, due to the success they have had in the past. The increase in minimum wage can cause a rise in the prices of the products being sold, loss of employees, and possibly hurt the economy as a whole. The increase in minimum wage helps the income of the workers, but also affects the owners of the business. They are the ones paying their employees. To have a positive effect on the economy, you have to get the best of both worlds. Keep the employees happy, but also still making a profit. Good thing I'm a newscaster and not a business owner. Whew! Now off to another economic story.
We have some breaking news! According to the Wall Street Journal, the LA Clippers owner is facing a $2.5 million fine from Commissioner Adam Silver unless he decides to sell the team. I guess his overconfidence ended up being his Achilles heel. Now back to you, Eric.
And now to Lisa with a magnificent MELK story.
Thanks, Eric. I'd like to take us on a trip across the Atlantic to analyze the model 2 Broadway producers developed to increase the profits of their performances. According to the Wall Street Journal, their model was inspired by a desire to lure teenagers to view the Broadway shows. The director of The Cripple of Inishmaan, Michael Gandage, had the odds working with him in this situation, though. The magical teen heartthrob, Daniel Radcliffe, is starring in his show. The problem he faced was that teenagers simply could not afford to buy the expensive tickets for the Broadway shows. Mr. Grandage felt particularly motivated to fix this problem because he got into the theater business by attending shows as a teenager. He realized that the future of Broadway was at risk if he didn't come up with a solution to his problem, so he leaped into action. Mr. Grandage formed his own production company with a producer he had worked with in the past, James Bierman. Together, they developed a model that allowed for lower-priced tickets. They produced 5 shows on London's West End over 15 months that offered 102,000 seats, 25% of the available tickets, for $17 each. Because they asked investors to put up money for all 5 shows across the entire season instead of on a single show, they were able to create a spread bet for the investors, which offset some of the individual risk if any of the shows failed to perform at the box office. Their model was successful. It brought in profits and, most important to Grandage, brought in 120,000 first-time theater goers. These producers are thinking of everything. They're getting big-name actors for their shows, hoping that new theater goers will be familiar with the names, enjoy the show, and wish to come to more shows. You know how people are these days. They want to stick to the status quo when it comes to actors, even though expanding their horizons could be beneficial. Anyway,
I'm glad to see that using good economic skills through their business model is helping Mr. Grandage's business as well as helping culture the youth of London. Back to you, Air.